Okay. Hi. I'm making a video. Yep. And this video is, kind of just, oh god, I can't draw at this angle. But this is sort of just like a few art tips I've sort of picked up. If anyone was curious. No one's asked me to do this. I'm just doing it. Just gonna draw a little cute thing right now. Okay, so the first thing is sort of about line art. Line art can be a pain a lot of the times because sometimes you completely ruin your drawing after you line it and you're like, what the heck, this sketch was so nice and then I lined it and it looks terrible and I hate it. Well, one thing you can do is so I think a lot of people will just go in with a sketch layer like this and get a darker color and just be like, okay, there's a line and another line there and a line and there's a line here and one there and sort of some more lines here and just covering it like that. And then once you hide the layer, it's like, oh, what? Like, it just doesn't look good at all. And so, like, it's just not nice looking. So one thing I always suggest, especially if you're lining in a similar color, like if I wanted to line my next layer in like this darkish blue, actually I guess any color, one thing you always do is you take your sketch layer and you lower the opacity. What does this do? Well, first of all, let's say I went to go line and I did that and I was like, what? That's really bright. And then I was like, oh, obviously I'm on the sketch layer. And so a lot of the times that can save you from accidentally lining an entire drawing on the wrong layer, which a lot of people, that can be really frustrating. And the second thing is, in terms of line art, one thing I found that really helps me is if I take my sketch and I lower the opacity to like the lowest it can go while I still see it, because that sort of tricks your brain into realizing that your line art is also a drawing. Like, it's not just lines on top of your sketch. I'm doing really badly right now, but like when you're doing line art, you should still be drawing. You shouldn't just be drawing. You shouldn't just be making lines on top of lines you've already made. You should be making decisions about what you're drawing and making adjustments and stuff like that, because the rigidity of line art, even if you have really loose line art or a really specific sketch, at least for me, the rigidity of line art can completely change the look of a drawing. And so if you lower the opacity really low, then it's easier to see your line art as like an individual piece you're working on, and you can see the shapes and how they're turning out, and you can actually pay attention to if your lines are shaky or look bad or aren't really in the right place. You can do that. And now, like, I mean, I haven't done much of it, so it takes a lot longer when you're actually paying attention to what you're trying to draw. It looks a lot better without the sketch layer. And I mean, you can sort of predict that, because hey, you couldn't barely see the sketch layer, so obviously, like, when the sketch layer goes away, my line art still looks just about as good as it did before, you know? So that's one thing. And like, let me say for a second that I am not good at doing line art, and this is not how good artists I mean, this is not the suggested way to do line art. This is just how I do it, and it's really frustrating sometimes. But I'll work on it, I guess. Okay. So there's that. Let's just hide this. And the second thing is, I have to make like an actual thing that looks like a face now. Is, so you're drawing a face, and you're just like, hold on. I'm trying to make this purposely terrible, and it's difficult. But a lot of the times, like, I'll rely on just, general, instinct on where to put facial features and stuff, and sometimes that doesn't work out, and you end up with something like this where it's like, you know, it's not, it looks weird for some reason, and it's hard to figure out why sometimes. Like, you're just like, something in the wrong place. But a lot of the times what it is that proportions that we've all been told, and that the eyes should be right about in the middle of the face. And if you're drawing, I mean, you can obviously mess with this, but the majority of characters you're going to draw have the structure, and the majority of actual actors mostly have the structure where their eyes are right in that middle part of their face if they're looking, you know, if it's not a weird thing. So if you just sort of move them down a little bit, and sometimes it's not even that much, but it just looks better. It looks a lot less weird than it did before. And so that's one thing that gets me up a lot, and it's a really easy fix. And sometimes you don't have to erase the whole thing and start again. You can just check and be like, I'm gonna check my proportions real fast and see if they're accurate. And then sometimes just a little scoot down makes it look a lot better. So I just wanted to procrastinate a little bit and make this video. Hopefully, I don't know, you learned something today about something. So yeah, the end.